doesn't scare him away, it brings him to the top, where I can spear him.
Oh, I'll spear you.
That is a 14-year-old Brooke Shields in the 1980 movie The Blue Lagoon, a box office hit that helped to make her a global star just as she was entering high school. The term icon has been cheapened by overuse in recent years, but it happens to apply to Brooke Shields in movies and on TV, on magazine covers, and yes, in famous ads for blue jeans. The New York City native has been in our lives since she was a child. Brooke stepped out of her whirlwind career long enough to attend Princeton University and found after graduation the world had moved on while she was studying. So in a running theme for her life, she found a new path, and then another, and another. Brooke and I got together in New York for a Sunday Sitdown to talk about her latest project and navigating a life lived in the spotlight. For nearly all of her life, Brooke Shields has had one of the most famous faces in the world.
And the one thing that I kept doing was not stopping. Okay, you don't want me here? That doesn't mean I'm going to sit at home, stare at the phone. I'm going to go over here.
An iconic American career began at just 11 months old with a modeling gig selling Ivory soap.
What's this?
By 11, Shields was cast in her first starring role, a controversial one, as a child prostitute in the 1978 Louis Malle film, Pretty Baby.
I know what to do. Leave me alone.
You've navigated your way through a childhood like maybe no one else has ever had in America. I mean, seriously, when you're on the cover of every big magazine and you're in this movie that's highly regarded but also controversial, how did you survive that?
You kind of have to have this sixth, seventh, eighth sense about you for people and for BS. And then I always went to school.
Right.
I never moved out to LA. And I think that something about not being surrounded by people in the industry, I think gave me a bit of perspective.
At 14, Shields became the youngest model ever to appear on the cover of Vogue magazine and posed that famous question for Calvin Klein.
You want to know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing.
She then played starring roles in the back-to-back coming-of-age romance movies Blue Lagoon and Endless Love.
Endless love.
After she finished her homework, the teenage star often turned up at New York's legendary Studio 54 with friends like Michael Jackson, Andy Warhol, and George Michael. But her mother and manager, Terry Shields, never was far. Do you look back and go, I can't believe that was my life, or does it feel familiar to you?
It feels extremely familiar because I was home by midnight and I was at school the next day. So there was this weird sense of normalcy. Mom would go sit, drink in the roped off section. I would dance like a crazy person for a few hours and go home.
Shields wrote a best-selling 2014 memoir about the loving, if complicated, relationship with her mother, who struggled with alcohol and was fiercely protective of her daughter.
She was hated, for the most part, because nobody could get near me. But she also taught me manners, taught me ethics, raised me as a good Catholic girl. Hard work was always there, and nothing came without it. And I think that kind of work ethic makes you at this stage say, I'm going to just keep going because nothing really undoes you.
And then when you decide to go to college, to Princeton, were there people saying, what are you doing? These are 4 years of your prime.
It didn't occur to me not to go. And I had been working for so long. By then, it was almost like a vacation.
Right.
I didn't even think about it, thankfully, because I was in for a real shock when I got out of college. It was like, who? I'm sorry, what? I also could have very easily disappeared right after that. So some freak thing in my trajectory allowed me longevity.
Shields had successful runs on Broadway in shows like Cabaret and Grease, and a hit Emmy-nominated sitcom in Suddenly Susan.
Oh, is that right?
After a marriage to tennis star Andre Agassi ended in divorce, Shields married Chris Henchy, a prominent producer and frequent comedy partner of Will Ferrell. Shields and Henchy have 2 daughters. Your daughter is off to college. We were not going to do it unless you want to do it, because it hurts me too.
You have
I'm
no idea.
close.
Honestly, enjoy these 4 years, because it's going to be like a limb has been cut off of your body, and you'll still feel it. There'll be a phantom.
Right, the phantom
The
pain.
phantom something. Yeah. And if you've done it right, they don't look back.
Right.
You know, and you're like...
At 56, Shields now is hoping to help women to embrace middle age with a lifestyle brand called Beginning Is Now.
I feel as if I'm just beginning. I feel stronger. I feel sexier. Why aren't we allowed to be sexy in our 50s? You know, why is it, you know, the 20s or depends? I thought, God, why can't we be celebrated for what our next chapter is? The women that I know, they're self-sufficient. They're not looking to be saved by anybody. And they sort of say like, well, God, what's next? This can't be it.
Right.
I'm not done.
It's a theme Shields brings to a new Netflix holiday movie called A Castle for Christmas.
What is that?
My father,
McGoo's your father's name?
McGinty. He got caught before he could finish.
She plays a successful novelist and empty nester who travels to Scotland to find the next chapter in her own life.
We were doing a rom-com, which to me was like medicine. You know, it was so nice to do a project that was happy.
Your Highness.
Technically, it's your grace.
I can think of a few other names I'd call you.
I love comedy so much that it's like an IV. And there's something that happens when I'm doing it that I sort of lose. I'm not watching myself. And that's such a gift because I stare at myself all the time, clearly.
You're a hustler in a lot of ways. You really are. I mean that as a compliment. Like, I don't know, but I mean, you could just sit back and be like, I got a good life and I'll do a few things here and there, but I feel like you're always looking for something. Is it fair to call you a hustler?
It's very fair. And in fact, I think it's a beautiful term and I appreciate it because I've been pounding the pavement since I could crawl.
Still hustling. In case you couldn't tell, Brooke is a good friend and one of the funniest, kindest, and wisest people I know. Her excellent new holiday movie, A Castle for Christmas, is streaming now on Netflix. Our big thanks to Bacall's Family Steakhouse in New York for hosting our conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Sitdown podcast to hear the full-length interview with Brooke Shields. You can find it on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get yours.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.